Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are moving on here with the Propagandacast. I'm your host, Imperial Dane, Master of Propaganda. We are off to a 1v1 right here on Langra scale. We, of course, right here seeing advanced warfare being utilised. Very popular doctrine as of late. Of course, it's new, but it's also reasonably solid. Fighting here for Tanso of the 424th Motorized Brigade versus Bacchus here fighting for Germany, for the Reich, for the 3rd SS Panzer Division Totenkopf. Here has gone mechanized assault, wishing the assault grenadiers out for him first. So a bit aggressive here. Might encounter some problems as those PPH-41s appears here on the Conscript Niki. And there go 2 squads already picking, 3rd one on the way here for Tanso. Pioneers advancing. All a bit quiet here on the front line at the moment. Russian conscripts with the most in their guns slowly advancing. Point securing, and we also here noting he's going straight for the munitions point first. Rather interesting enough, a bit of a peculiar sort of camping order. You'd usually not see a player rush straight for the munitions without care for anything else. Also a bit of barbed wire going up here. Bit rarer to see nowadays, but it was actually rather common at least to see this part wired off here on Langra scale. Of course, there wasn't this gap here on Company of Heroes, but still here. So make sure your opponent can't move in here and make a direct rush for this. So interesting approach here. And we're seeing an MG42 firing up on the assault grenadiers. Interesting, interesting.
Waiting for your command.
Points continue being secured. Widespread here from Tanso. And Molotovs off already here for Tanso. The assault guns here securing points, armed with the machine gun 40. One of several submachine guns the Germans actually used assault for, although this one the primary one. And it was one which actually was in several regards quite popular. In fact, the design was copied by many different armies in different ways. The M3 grease gun, the Sten gun in fact was also an attempt to sort of make copying this army, which again was basically an effective but cheap submachine gun. Which was rather that what they were looking for. The Russians, to a certain extent, also tried, I suppose, with a PPS-43. Since again, I mean, even the cheap-to-make PPS-41 really wasn't good enough for them, it seemed. And there goes soldiers moving an MP40 firing. Conscripts are surrounded by submachine gun-wielding Germans and forced to fall back there. Fall back, Yuri! They shoot more bullets than we do, but there we go. Nice Molotov over here. Bacchus troops catching on fire. And definitely not doing well, in fact losing 2 men to the Molotov. Bit of a turnaround then, we're seeing a second squad of conscripts arriving. Things looking a bit grim there. And here's arriving, MD42 and MD42 there as well. Looks like he's trying to get a wipe down the conscripts. For some reason, Tanso needs to consider retreating. While the assault gunners also should consider falling back here. They're about to get surrounded here by numerous angry conscripts. Hearts full of vengeance and anger. Looks like a squad there did not have a fun time. An attempt there to flank by the combat engineers resulted in a swift volley. MD42 covering up here. Conscripts forced to fall back in response to that. Further conscripts, very conscript heavy start here from Tanso. Approaching conscript spam pretty much. A bit rarer to see players go beyond 4 conscript, but then they also tend to sort of indicate they tend to be very aggressive players.
We are as ready as we can be.
And right here one might suspect he's actually playing for this, sort of hoping to sort of rush his opponent initially, then hold the ground for as long as possible while then calling in T-34, 85 to then follow up. Certainly a common bang in the old patch, though now it's a bit harder thanks to the T-35s being moved back a few points. And that's probably one of the main reasons it's actually happened, because again, otherwise they could basically just keep conscript spamming to about 14 minutes of the game and then calling them in and, you know, GG. But we're seeing S-mines going up here. S-mines certainly being much more popular now after they've been made a lot more useful, a lot more helpful and cheaper. We're seeing just a huge field here being laid down on the road and the nearby fields. Conscripts rushing in. Ooh-la! Hey! Mean comrades! What does that mean? And there it goes, setting off the S-mines, taking heavy losses. I mean, note now the S-mines really are a lot more likely to sort of cause large damage. That was also one of the problems with the previous S-mines. They, you know, set off one S-mine who might kill someone, but that'd be it. There we go, just attacking from numerous angles, really pushing it. There we go. Minesweepers out. Good job there, good job. Clearing out of the mines. Clearly, Tanso, though, was perhaps expecting opponents to go for a bit of that. But going to a bit of top, solo clearing out the mines. Assault Gunners counter-attack for the glory of the Reich. Tearing through those combat engineers. Canadians MD42 here, winning the fight on the left side. Medic upgrades on the way. He's still some time off of really getting that huge boost on his Conscript plan, which is going to be those submachine guns, those PPH-41s. The one we're basically also seeing here in the game is actually a slightly older variant before they switched over to stick magazines, because while the drum magazine did allow for a lot more munitions, the problem with it was that magazine, had a few design flaws, including which that if it was fully loaded, it would actually weaken the magazine spring, eventually rendering the magazine unreliable, plus some other things. So overall, as the war progressed, the Soviets actually switched over to stick magazines for their PPH-41s. Conscript Grenadiers, MD42 moving up. Looks like he might be trying to lure him into the S-mines here with the Assault Grenadiers. The Schweinminen, there we go, like Mechanized Company up for Barkas, and there we go, S-mines going off. Will the Conscripts pursue? Yes! Oh, niet! Oh, good lord! That's just a massacre! A huge cloud of dark smoke falls upon the battlefield, and once it lifts, there's just bodies mutilated and screaming, dying people. Niet! Who knew the ground could be so lethal? Just absolutely terrible, but again, that's the new and improved S-mines, wunderbar. Wunderbar, sehr wunderbar. Unless, of course, you're the Soviet player, in which case you might be having a slightly different opinion on this new and improved lethality. One which probably is best expressed in swear words, and which I will then not repeat. And we're seeing here Mittler Schützenpanzerwagen arriving here.
It's done.
Mines going up there. Looks like Tanso's had enough of those fascist mines. And he's opening up with his own mines, and also they're cutting the wire. Good, good.
How can we help?
Barker's a bit on the back foot. But still, again, I mean, the overall large amount of Conscript really allows sort of attack from several sides at once, but he's played it clever. And there go, Comet, he's pushed away the assault gunners advancing. Half-tack following up. Still some time before the PPH-41s are available. My apologies for the hiccups. And I'm not referring to technical hiccups, but literal ones. And he's trying to lay down fresh barbed wire, but he's coming under fire. Careful, Bacchus. 4-6, 4-6. And so far, the assault gunners have had sort of little effect. They've so far only killed 5. No, not damage. We're seeing a bunker going up. He's trying to set up a defensive position. That's a nice idea, but not covering the flank. And there we go. We're seeing Tanso Swift advancing, and there we go. 3 CPs and the PPH-41 following. MD42 will have to fall back here. Half-track rushing in. Flampanzerwagen upgrade. Conscript, assault gunners following up. Conscript forced away. Looks like he does. Oh, he does have the anti-tank grenades, by the way. Entering, he did not pop one on, and there we go. Mine accidentally cooked off there, but flame for half-track. Molotov on the MD42. Molotov on the Grenadiers. Molotovs everywhere. The Frenulables of Doom. Oh, and he failed to cancel the bunker, thus wasting around 50 manpower. Oh dear, that's rather unfortunate, Bacchus. We are seeing there a combined assault force there, the Flampanzerwagen with assault grenadiers following in. Meanwhile, MD42 left on its own here. And not sure what happened there. Either way, they got to rush past it. Conscripts closer going down here from the Flampanzerwagen. Bacchus a bit on the back foot, point there being secured.
Squad at full strength. Objective secured. We will defend it. We have our PPSHs.
Needs to rapidly counter, and there we go.
We have been assigned fresh Panzer Grenadiers.
PPSH-41s.
Area secured.
Panzer Grenadiers moving out. And the assault is getting countered with some rather serious resistance from the Russians. Conscript there, slightly holding the Flampanzerwagen. There we go. Anti-tank grenade. Looks like that was a grenade assault, which rather failed to make any kind of impression upon the Russians, unfortunately for the Germans. And there you go, we're seeing Bacchus himself getting mines, who's now knowing his opponent's also laid down mines. He's not taking any chances either. Good response there from either player, rapidly getting mines, who's at the very least in response. And certainly so, players are more likely to try to need, you know, minesweepers now that, you know, S-mines have been made, you know, bleeding useful. Attempt to hit the munitions cache, but apparently the combat engineers are having a bit of a break and forgets all about it.
Fresh conscripts have arrived.
MG42 setting up all over the place, setting up position inside the building. MG42 rapidly unleashes burst after burst through the windows. More conscripts moving in. And MG42 moving up there, but perhaps a bit too late. There we go, losing one man. And conscripts moving up the left flank. Bacchus under rather serious pressure here from Tanso, who keeps advancing over to Bacchus. Units lost. Both sides for looks at Flampanzer around there adding in, and these conscripts could get wiped out. No, looks like they pull off a bullet scump and make it back. Plenty of fuel there, looks like he might be taking up then. Submachine gun conscripts moving in, getting burned, getting shot, getting killed. Meanwhile, Panzers are finding versus the conscripts not standing a chance versus the Sturmgewehrs. Might be an idea for the infantry armor piercing rounds, increasing the damage of the MG42, but no, conscripts fall back before that is even possible. Bunker going up, going to be medic bunker, troops reinforcing. Assault gets squeezes stand to move forward, and I certainly recommend that Bacchus begins foraging onwards rather schnell, and there we go, finishing up the munitions cache. Had he done that earlier, he would definitely have more munitions, and I imagine. I mean, that's the one thing now, of course, the submachine guns are much more expensive, and particularly all the Molotovs he's been lobbing, he doesn't really have a large supply of them, so munitions caches would definitely help him suddenly quickly get more of those submachine guns out faster, because he's going to currently need, you know, to supply every single of those 5 squads of 150 munitions. And if he wants also Molotovs and anti-tank grenades, I mean, that's going to require a lot of munitions. So in that regard, you know, there's a slight little backside to his plan. Meanwhile, we're seeing that Bacchus is quick taking advantage of, and he certainly should have considered perhaps getting a support weapon coming up, adding some support weapons. I mean, it's a lot harder now to base just relying on conscript spam, or even just, you know, a support weapon company or a special rifle command, and then just relying on that until you can get up some T-3045s. But in particular, just conscripts, which again is rather what it's looking like Bacchus is playing at. Troops getting met with heavy machine gun resistance. At some point in the centre, lots of troops being knocked down. Conscripts advancing up here, but getting burned alive. Looking a bit bad here. There's several conscripts now equipped with submachine guns, but again, taking heavy losses. Heavy losses. MG42 flanking Molotov off. Tractor on fire. MG42 close to getting wiped out. And these conscripts need to fall back. They're going to hit corner in front of the MG42. Right in front of Flampanzerwagen as well, which is generally not where I want to be caught. Looks like that assault rather failed miserably here for Tanso. He needs to be a bit more careful. And certainly, I mean, he's encountering a rather stalwart and stoic combined arms response here from Bacchus, which is overall making it a bit difficult for him. Pants up their cannon on the way. Bacchus is perhaps beginning to sense that there might be something a bit more grim arriving on the horizon soon enough. And there we go, munitions cache is spotted. Even Panther fasting the munitions cache. Schnellmänner, fire at this bunch of munitions with a Panzerfaust, because as we all know, caches full of munitions are very hard to destroy. Fine, they're going off. Rifle grenade versus. Oh, he was trying to catch him on the advancing path. Nice play there, but ultimately a bit futile. Assault grenades moving in. Conscript moving from several angles. Can he break through here? Conscript simply getting murdered there, but there we go. Anti-tank grenade off on the Flampanzerwagen. MG42 have not advantage to cover the cut-off points a bit better. Conscript going to launch an attack here from both sides. Flampanzerwagen spewing far left and right like a twin-headed dragon. Conscripts here forced away. Assault gun is holding out somehow, despite the heavily armed here conscripts. But there we go, Molotov on the assault grenadiers. And forced away.
Grenadiers here!
Flammenpanzerwagen falling back, troops are reinforcing. And conscript suppressed. Repairing that munitions cache, interestingly enough. Looks like we're getting closer and closer to the moment the T-3045s arrive. We are finally seeing a support armor corps going up, but it could be a bit late here for Bacchus, because otherwise only going to have a single Pack 40 to stop the about to hit Soviet armored force to support this advance guard here of the Soviet army. Flammenpanzerwagen not looking too good, though it's certainly done its fair share of damage. Panzer is holding up here behind the remains of the tractor with a few Sturmgewehrs. Points are secured, and there we go. Support armor corps is up for Bacchus. With what is this? An additional conscript squad here arriving for Tanso. Has he lost any? No, he's actually up to 6 conscripts now. This is going to get rather interesting. Again, he's adding in further to the infantry approach here. Looks like he's fond of his conscript. Tanso's here, and a nice bun grenade right in their path. Oh! Certainly looks like the bun grenade has been more effective a bit in secret here with the latest patch. It certainly seems to be less likely to just leave no one alive or unharmed. There you go, just massive advance here. So many conscripts moving, but at the same time we're seeing a large infantry force launching up the left flank. Also, light infantry barrage now available for Bacchus and the 3rd SS. And there we go, the T-3045 arrives. The armor has arrived, comrades. Ooh, ah. And he's still only got 1 pattern. There we go. Oh, was that more S mines or was that something else? Either way, someone died horribly. Oh, looks like it was a rifle grenade. Conscripts need to fall back. More mines going in. T-35 moving in here to deal with the assault guns. The assault guns definitely don't have a defense here versus the T-3045. Go, one hell of a hit there. Flammenpanzerwagen hit with an anti-tank grenade again. The assault gunners continue their delay action here with the T-3045, it seems. Tiger tanks available for Bacchus. Looks like he just built a support armor corps, but then ends up not going to use it because he's going to aim for the Tiger tank, the Tiger. MG there rooted up. Conscripts fighting versus Grenadiers. Grenadiers forced away here. Superior firepower here with conscripts forcing them away. As Bacchus has been rather reluctant to upgrade his Grenadiers to light machine guns.
Grenadiers reporting objective capture.
Certainly leaving them further vulnerable to the SMG conscripts. I imagine we'll be seeing another T-3045 soon, and again a Tiger tank in response to this.
Pioneers have finished.
And Telemine's up again. Bacchus now knows what's up, and again he's going to basically do his best to sort of at least delay the armor until he can get his own Schwerer Panzer out.
Yes.
But now Tanso is the one in control of the map. I mean, again, you know, going for a lot of conscripts is in some regards can be very powerful, but again, it's a lot harder to pull off since again it's going to take longer for them to get out some of the bigger tanks. But there we go, another T-3045. And there you go, the response, the Tiger. Flammenpanzerwagen moving up. Mines people spawning the S-mine, Telemines, and some S-mines still remaining. T-35 moving up. Pack 40 pointing in a rather unfortunate direction here. Troops getting burned up alive. Horribly, horribly so. Oh, S-mines up there covering an against move there. Nice, nice shot there. Fire and pandemonium. T-35 needs to be kept around here. The Pack 40. Looks like the infantry tries to clear it out. There we go. T-3045s will need to fall back a bit here. Pack 40, not going to last longer. And there we go, Tiger with a pencil mounted machine gun. T-35 moving in. S-mines going off, almost wiping out squad. And there we go, Tiger gets a kill on the retreat. T-35 falling back here. Not quite eager on a direct engagement here with a Tiger tank. Conscripts moving in, looks like he's going to make another rush. Tracy can't hit it with an anti-tank grenade, but Tiger unleashes death. We're definitely seeing here that Bacchus at the moment is a bit on the back foot. He's barely got any map control left. His opponent is slowly getting more and more tanks. He's got both fuel points, so it's not going to be that difficult to get himself a 3rd T-3045. But on the other hand, he's going to need to repair these two rather quickly. There we go. Just a bit of manpower, he soon have the fuel as well.
Pioneers awaiting orders.
Yeah?
Shoots in here.
And it is actually time for the mid-game analysis. Current situation is the Germans, the 3rd SS, are definitely a bit on the back foot here. Losses have been to a certain extent heavy, and again the reluctance to upgrade the Grenadiers to light machine guns has allowed the conscripts with submachine guns to a larger extent dominate. Though again, he has been a bit lacking in munitions to a certain extent. He's in fact not yet been fully able to fully equip his conscripts with submachine guns. So that's actually something that's holding him a bit back. But overall, a bit on the defensive. His opponent is slowly and surely building up a large armoured force that could take on the Tiger if he's not careful, since there's likely going to be another T-34-85 soon. So there's definitely some issues they need to be taken care of somehow. And he needs to keep that Tiger covered with the pack, since he could also risk, basically if he got 3 T-35, 1 rams and the other 2 shoots it to bits. And that would definitely be a bit unfortunate here for Bacchus, who's otherwise short on armour. A move could be saving up either for the Panzer IV or the Sturmgeschütz to actually support his Tiger tank on the battlefield. Flam Panzer also doing quite a nice work. We're seeing him trying to recapture resources here. That is good, but all he needs to sort of try and push out. But at the same time, he needs to be careful in doing so, and he definitely needs to be a combined arms effort centered on the Tiger, leading the way with weapons, then supporting it properly. A second Pioneer squad would also be a good idea to help keep the Tiger going. Victory point wise, we are sort of seeing, a bit of a slight advantage here to the Soviet player. Also in terms of bulletins, we're also seeing, Molotovs being thrown far, otherwise it's mostly infantry. In terms of damage, we are seeing that Bacchus is quite ahead, and again also in terms of kills in particular, because our friend here has been relying heavily on conscripts, and thus, to a certain extent, he's been suffering heavier losses than he otherwise would have had been relying a bit more on support weapons to support them. So of course there's a slight problem then again in that regard, that's something his opponent needs to be a bit more careful of. In fact, looking at Tanso again, we see 5 conscript squads again, 1 has been lost. In fact, several by now have been lost, to some nasty S-mines, and they've definitely been a nice choice here by Bacchus. And again, likely going to get another T-30-35, and of course, he needs to somehow utilize them properly. I would initially suggest perhaps just driving around a bit, trying to find the weak spots, and otherwise, hitting other targets than necessarily the Tiger. He should probably try to sort of draw the Tiger out with the 3 T-35s, and then surround it and knock it out, preferably getting behind it to expose the rear armor, which of course is weaker, and then just keep firing with the 85mm guns here of his soon-to-be 3 T-35s. He's also got plenty of munitions, so a few strafing runs and also help doing that, for example, again, with the Pack 40, call that in, centered around that, could also prove to be quite viable for Tanso. A few mines so further would be an idea, and it's still part of me would say, a support when Campanier in the longer run, or, again, he is intently focused on these, so, a fuel cache could also be a fun idea. Otherwise, try to keep the pressure, but try to keep losses to a minimum, since again, with 5 conscript squads, you could easily risk, all of a sudden finding yourself extremely strapped for manpower, so all of a sudden you have to replace an awful lot of infantry. I mean, that's 30 troops right there in those 5 squads, and that can easily become a bit of a butcher's bill he has to pay if he's not careful. Also, use some of those conscripts more to sort of repair the T-35 so they can get back quicker in the fight. But let's return to the things here, the battle. Die Kampf.
The enemy is taking what we have secured.
There are no cowards here.
Points there being secured, Pentagon is following up.
The enemy has cut off a sector.
T-35 is here waiting. There we go, 1 ready.
Enemy forces are neutralizing us.
I mean, that is one of the advantages of this structure again. I mean, you generally have a lot of conscripts, then of course you can quickly repair using them. Pack 40, Flam Punch right, and there we go. Strafing run has in fact been called in right around here. Will he react in time? Will the Soviet Air Force strike faster? In this case, the half-tank absorbed a bit of the fire, which is, I suppose, lucky for him. But there we go, Pack 40 actually exposed. Oh, 9. Scheiße, Heinz, why did you turn around? And there we go. Pack 40 crew died a horrible death. Tiger is in trouble. Minesweepers moving in, MG42 getting cleared out here. Whole machine guns raking them down with bullets. T-35 is advancing. Conscripts advancing through the S-mines. So you have to be careful the S-mines don't get set off by high explosive shells. There we go, Tiger versus the T-35s. He should focus it down, Go! Oh, there we go, also light machine gun, Swanee. Trying to ram it. Only shocking the crew. He should have rammed it from the rear. No idea why he went off there. That's definitely a poor tactical decision. Massively poor tactical decision right there. Wasting a T-34-85. He could even then have taken the chance to at least, use the T-35 to then shoot at the Tiger while it was stunned. But no. Also now the engineers have left, leaving the other troops caught here in the middle of a minefield. Comrades, you have abandoned us in the middle of the minefield. Are you stupid?
We have lost one of our
Well, perhaps they are fascists. Either way, though, definitely right here. I mean, what looked to be a promising assault encountered several issues, including leaving one squad in the middle of a bloody minefield.
T-34-85 tanks are now ready for use.
But also the way he basically just ran straight after the Flammpanzerwagen and ignored the Tiger. I mean, he had 3 T-35s. He could easily have taken it out if he'd just circled around and hit in the rear, simply because those 3 tanks would have had a lot more health, able to sort of out-damage the Tiger. Now he needs to fall back here, so again, botched assault. Pull back. Tiger moves in. Pack 40 firing away, getting a few good hits there. He could also continue blasting the packs to bits, or recruiting it with all the conscripts he had. I mean, there are definitely a lot of options, but he failed to, take advantage of any of them. And there you go, Tiger heavily damaged. Again, had he simply taken all 3 T-35s, sent it around the Tiger, he probably could have won that. Instead, for some reason there, he went off like a dog after some piece of junk after that flamethrower half-tech, instead of focusing on what mattered, which was the Tiger. And now we're seeing buggers here arriving with the Sturmgeschütz, ready to punish his foe for that mistake.
We are ready to go, comrades.
Although at the same time, Buggers definitely needs more pioneers to repair that Tiger, otherwise it's going to be out for quite some time. And certainly it is more likely that Tanso gets his tanks back in the fight before that.
Ready for orders.
Also need to turn that off.
The enemy has
But yeah, I mean, he actually gained up a bit there in terms of damage, but again, still, he could have gotten that Tiger. He could have gotten it. A bit disappointed then, Tanso, a bit disappointed, but not as disappointed as Comrade Stalin, and you don't want to disappoint him.
enemy forces capturing supply sector.
We are ready for action.
MG42 is making a direct assault on the MG42 Molotov, but the MG42 nicely repositions as the Con squad is suppressed. There we go. Bucker's forced to fall back. It was the might of the Reich.
We have a new unit.
There you go, 30-30-45, but again now there's going to be a much heavier volume on fire, including a Sturmgeschütz. Stück 3 aus Führung G.
Sector under attack.
Pack 40 also setting up. Panther 6 up. I mean, we're really seeing a Buggers laying everything in to stop those stamina-able T-35s.
Sector is at risk.
And there we go, a charging in. Infantry should have let the way to sort of spot out the Pack 40 first. Stug moving up, Pack 40 firing away. Punts. Fire, target weak point. We're seeing an overall retreat on all fronts here. Call in the Sturmovik, There you go. Damaged engine. Keep advancing. We're seeing here that once more Bugs is forced to fall back. He did not support it quickly. Still only one pioneer's got repairing. Pack 40 cleared out. Stug is open. Shot bounced off there. Main gun destroyed, and a Panzer 4, Pack 40 recruit, but need to pull back that tank for repairs. Also, these are getting slowly closer to Veteran 2, but needs to all fall back for repairs again. Pack 40 also needs to fall back overall though, bit of a nasty loss there.
It is now under
But again,
our
he should have had 2 pioneers repairing that. 2 pioneers. That would actually have the Tiger there in the fight, and that might have changed things overall.
Our territory
And
is
now he
falling
risks
to
a
enemy
Pack
hands.
40, a Panzer Abwehrkanone 40. Panzer 4 driving straight in from there. Not sure what Buckers is thinking. He must be getting a bit desperate here. Definitely not a good idea. That was pretty much just free experience right there for the T-35. There we go. Tiger Tank, though, somehow still taking advantage of the chaos. There we go. One T-35 took a hit. Kaput. Ramming in. And blitzing away. Good move. Good move. Well played there by Bacchus. And we see here an engine overheated on the T-35, landing an easy target. Still no sign of the Soviet Air Force. Tiger moves out again. Anti-tank grenade. But overall, the T-35 here still coming away. Tiger, though, taking heavy damage. Pack 40 joining in. T-35 down. Can he get that Pack 40? There we go. Soviet Air Force finally arriving, but a bit late, a bit late. Doing a bit of damage there. Tiger falling back. Close to Veteran 2, though. Close to Veteran 2. A rather bloody engagement there, which saw the Tiger successfully knocking out 2 T-34-85s. Wunderbar. What can you do with an 88mm Kampfkanone? A lot of damage. And there we go, he's finally gotten a fuel cache up. That's only took him some time.
T-34 ready.
That's only took him a lot of time. And he's down to 1 T-35 at the moment, although it's getting close to Veteran 2, which does increase its rate of fire. Need to be careful there. That would definitely be a nice target for a strafing run if you're not careful. Still only 1 Pioneer Squad. Come on, Bacchus.
Do you need some?
Ready for orders.
Bit of manpower being floated there.
Attempting to capture our territory.
Mines down. Nice idea. Veteran to the MG-42. Close Veteran 2 there. And now the Grenadiers and Panthers advancing.
Panzer Grenadiers standing by.
Additional Panther Grenadier squad out here for Bacchus. Not an additional Pioneer squad. For some reason he seems rather reluctant on speeding up the repairs in his Tiger. Oh, got the Pack 40 with the rifle grenade. But additional T-35 available. Go.
T-34 ready.
There
We
we
are
go.
losing territory.
There we go.
Squad replenished.
Troops slowly advancing through the fields littered with explosions, craters, and wrecked tanks and dead infantry.
The enemy is encroaching on our territory. T-34, crude loaded and ready. T-34 ready.
All a bit quiet for the time being, though. All a bit quiet.
Enemy forces capturing supply sector.
MG crew there made a bit of a overly risky move. Going to get caught here by the 2 T-35's infantry. Except the T-35s can't seem to hit.
T-34 reports engine damage.
Tiger advancing once more. And we saw Panzerfaust going off that T-35. That's bad news. Another Sturmovik, another Sturmovik. Come on, call in the Soviet Air Force, comrades. And we go. MD-42 forced to fall back.
Our troops have been lost.
Troops dying. He needs to call in more troops.
25 tanks are now ready.
And there goes strafing run. Does quite a number right there. MD-42 and ramming. But, oh, he actually got the main gun shot on the Tiger this time around. But he at the same time immobilized his own Veteran 2 T-35. And we're seeing another Stuk arriving. And we're just seeing here what immediately happens. All the conscript again. That's on the advantage, I suppose. You can actually quickly repair a ram tank as long as there's nothing firing on it. So there we go. Conscript. No, don't fall back. Just keep repairing. Keep repairing. Niet, comrade. Niet. Had he not done that, he could have repaired it.
Before retreat.
He could have fixed it before the Stuk arrived.
We are losing supplies to the enemy.
Oh, what another tactical blunder right there from Tanso.
Enemy contact!
Available vehicle.
And there we go, T-35 abandoned. The crew barely managed to stumble up before they die of something. likely bullets. Go, T-35 cooked up. Sad he didn't try to recruit, I suppose. And now the situation is looking decidedly not good for Tanso. Now go T-35 car coming on fire from the storm gets shots. Tanso strikes and 75mm anti-tank rounds impacting upon the armour. And there we go, another T-3045 kaput. Tiger being repaired. But that right there was definitely a game-costing decision. He should have focused on repairing it. He could have gotten it back and together, and that could have made all the difference. That Stu could then have risked being knocked out, and we could even, done some further damage, keeping the Tiger out of the fight for even longer. Instead, though, he decides to all of a sudden spread out, despite being so close to repairing it. A massive mistake right there by Tanso. Absolutely massive. MG42 cleared out. You're definitely seeing that Barkas is beginning to run out of infantry. But Sugi continues fighting and continues doing quite nicely, killing left and right. And there we go. Betching 2 for the Tiger tank. Increasing range and increasing scatter. Another bit there of Soviet Air Force firepower inbound. Pioneers wiped out. That's definitely unfortunate. Stug about like to get hit by an anti-tank grenade. Yes, indeed. Panthers are bouncing up the right flank.
The squad of pioneers has arrived.
But the situation is looking rather grim. He's also begun flooding manpower for some bizarre reason. He could easily call in another T-35 now, but looks like he might have lost all hope.
Listen to me if you want to live.
So I'll just be speeding this up. Yeah. What a strange person.
MG42s have arrived. Experience is the
Yeah, that makes no sense. That definitely was rather bizarre. But apparently felt, that it's as likely as he was going to be, taken off by Comrade Stalin. He felt, he probably should at least have some fun with his own troops before that happened. But in some regards, you proved to fight again. We saw, that, attempt at a conscript spam 2 T-3045. It's a bit harder to pull off now again, even with this doctrine. We saw the weaknesses of which again, which you'll suffer heavy losses at the same time. You risk in some regards actually having trouble holding territory, but also lacking overall assets and lacking combined arms efforts. You can run into several problems versus an opponent who does have it. I mean, he was very reliant on the tanks, and again, that came to his problem number 2. He had a slight tendency of all of a sudden making some very bizarre decisions. I mean, losing all sight of priorities. Again, he should have gone for the Tiger, but then rushed after the Flamethrower half-track. He should have repaired the T-3045, that was virtually 2, and could just need to be quick repaired, but then decide to rush off to do everything else at the same time. I mean, those 2 decisions cost him the game again. Stay focused on the main priority, which is either, knocking out the biggest tank, getting your own vehicles repaired. Don't run off to do everything else at the same time. And that was really the one thing. Also, don't leave your men in this minefield. Your pioneers just lit up. No, that was just bad. That was just horrible, terrible. I mean, imagine being stuck in a minefield after being let out there. That's nasty. Baka certainly held on there nicely. I mean, there were some problems here and there with some unit preservation. The S-mounts, though, were a good move. And we really demonstrated how powerful they are. I mean, I definitely think we'll be seeing a lot more S-mounts from the Germans now. And I'm really looking forward to that. I mean, those are really going to make a huge difference now. And that's also something that can actually, cause problems for conscript spam, since again now S-mine fields can actually be a massive threat, but really, that's just a funeral pyre. And again, he should have been faster with the caches as well, I think, again, considering the strategy he was playing, and he was also a bit late several times in calling in those strafing runs. So there were several issues there with Tanso in the longer run, but also his strategy had a few flaws, and he didn't really do his best to sort of build up with it. I mean, if you are going to go for something like an armored rush, you're usually better off getting either Special Rifle Command or this, even better, the Weapon Support Company. It needs something to support it a bit better. You can't just rely on conscripts and tanks anymore, not as easily. Though again, it was close at several times. It was close. But there you go. I hope you enjoyed this match. I hope you learned something from it. I hope you got some inspiration for some new things in the game. If you did, why not subscribe? Tell your friends. Share it with everyone. If not, you know, send in a replay and provide some feedback in the comments. This is Imperial Dane saying cheers and wishing you a good day, good afternoon, or good evening.